All right, well, let's talk a bit about Matt Walsh, because you are doing God's work, Lance. Watching old Matt Walsh clips when he hadn't quite gotten the whole personal grooming thing down to where he's at. I mean, his beard is substantial now. He was going with the newsboy cap scruff situation at that point, and then doing his videos from his car. What compelled you to go through his old work like this? Because just his rampant transphobia? Because we were just saying we should do that more for right-wing pundits, because there's a trove of information that's valuable.
You're not wrong. I was streaming one day, because I stream over at twitch.tv/the Serfs TV. I should do a self promo.
Yeah, very smooth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shameless. Yeah. I'm scrolling through all his old videos because someone was trying to say that in one of his old videos, he actually used to broadcast out of his car. And I was like, that's not true. No one did that. And then turns out that's true. His entire first, I'd say 3 months of doing YouTubing was all out of his vehicle. I don't know if it was an aesthetic he was going for, because he was also working for the Daily Wire at the time. But the topics alone of each thumbnail had me going like, oh, this has to have something in there. Because it was like, we have to talk about the age of consent. We have to talk about how impregnation, abortion, of incest hides evidence. We have to talk about all these topics. I was like, well, no, we don't. No one has to talk about this. You shouldn't really be thinking these things, let alone thinking now I need to say them out loud and record and broadcast them on main. Either way, as I downloaded them, and these are all from 4 years ago, I was astonished at how horrifying the things that were coming out of his mouth were. And this was Matt Walsh. I already knew Matt Walsh was bad, but this is Matt Walsh unfiltered and unfamous, where his views are 893, 1K, 700 for each video. So this was before anyone knew who he was. And so at that point, I guess he felt a lot more secure expressing his very I don't even know if you could say these are Christian nationalist beliefs. Some of these are this is old timey religion.
Fair.
This is Old Testament,
fair.
Yeah. This is is there any other right-wing personality right now who is advocating for, if a daughter has been raped by her father, the evidence of the rape needs to be conceived, and then she has to give birth in order to prove that the father raped her? Is anyone else saying something that horrifying? And if you think about the logistics, it's so she has to continue to be raped and molested for 9 months until the evidence is created and then birth. Why are you thinking this? Let alone recording this in your car outside of what looks like a playground. I don't know what's happening. The aesthetics are horrifying. The whole thing.
But I mean, why that's so important to emphasize is that these guys are all religious fundamentalists. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, but it's not cool to be a religious fundamentalist. In fact, a lot of young people who would be inclined to watch your content don't really want that branding. They might be more sucked in by traditionalism, or masculinity is leaving our spaces and everyone's a soy boy. But it's all really the same thing. It's just branded a bit differently. And so when you go back and Matt Walsh a little more unpolished, a little bit more Christian nationalisty, you can kind of see that the homophobia, the transphobia, the misogyny is really rooted in something that fundamentally, no pun intended, people do not want.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And when it comes to Matt Walsh, he really made a name for himself with the transphobia, like you were just bringing up, right? We should have said that Matt Walsh is one of the most deeply boring pundits on the right, without question. He is without parallel. I have sat through entire hour-long streams that he has, and he is very difficult to sit through, which is why I have a personal belief he ramps up the horrifying rhetoric a bit more than other people. Some people will be like, well, I think if someone's trans and adult, they should be able to make their own decisions. Whereas Matt Walsh is trans people shouldn't exist. They're chemically castrating your children. They're mutilating young boys. He really takes things a couple extra notches. And it should also be pointed out that he is a fundamentalist in his ideology, because I say this, I'm sure y'all saw when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and that divine light of Jamie came on for that moment where he was like, how many people do you think are on puberty blockers? Oh, I have to say at this point, maybe millions, if not more. And it's just that light comes on and it's less than 1,000 in a year. That's an order of magnitude of 44 times around there that you're exaggerating. And instead of correcting himself because he was presented with facts and he cares about his feelings, at that moment he's like, well, Media Matters is going to have a hell of a time with this. I have information presented to me, but I'm not going to change the fact that I lie for a career, and my lies for a career directly vilify and marginalize and impact the lives of people who are already having a hard time. They're already having a very hard time in life, and I'm going to do this for money, for pay, which is it's disgusting.
It is. Thank God Spotify's lawyers got a little involved there. Said, Jamie, you don't need to be ornamental. Just do some fact checking here, because we're getting a little bit in trouble with Joe Rogan saying that he definitely knows somebody secondhand who is a teacher, and they have
the litter boxes.
They have litter boxes. That's what was the impetus, I think.
Yeah. No, that's so ridiculous, because that story is a great example of a feedback loop. We have a story that was actually propagated by Libs of TikTok originally. Obviously, Libs of TikTok and Joe Rogan, as said before, he promotes Libs of TikTok, likes watching Libs of TikTok. He sees that story on Libs of TikTok. The school debunks the story, says that's not true. In fact, the photos you see of the cat litter boxes, this is really sad, but those are in place in case there's a school shooting. That's why we have that, in case the kids can't leave the room. Anyways, Joe Rogan sees that, and then he makes up a story in real time where he's like, a friend, my wife's friend apparently saw the litter boxes or whatever. He got this from Libs of TikTok, and then Libs of TikTok posted that Joe Rogan confirmed her story. Like it's the Ouroboros of transphobia, and it's ridiculous.
And he changed it to making it like a personal anecdote, because he thought that it would have more salience that way. So that's how you know, not honest guy shooting off the cuff there. All right, well, Lance from the Serfs, thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate you, and also the deep dives into Matt Walsh. That's difficult work. I'll say that. Lance, where can people find your work?
If you enjoy anything that you've seen or heard, you can find me everywhere. Social media is sold at the Serfs TV. Yeah, at the Serfs TV. Everywhere on social media. Probably not Twitter for long. And on that note, #FreeBinder.